G'day. All right, so I'm making this video to help out those of you who might be wanting to flush out the cooling system on your Hyundai i20. And look, I don't know, but it's possible that this process will work for other cars, other Hyundais. So, um, first off, there's a really good Scotty Kilmer video on flushing out your cooling system, and I'll link that in the description for you. Now, in that video, he talks about removing the thermostat. And, like, personally, I didn't do that. I wasn't confident to do that. But, when I get around to doing it again, I might have a try. So that would be completely up to you. But what I found was when I first drained the radiator, I got about 2 liters of fluid out when I believe there's 6.8 liters of coolant in the entire system. And I was like, well, where is the rest of it? So the rest of it is in the engine block. And the only way you get it out of the engine block is by removing the thermostat, which opens a valve and allows the coolant to move freely from the engine block through the pipes into the radiator and then drains out. The other way of doing it is to do it in a few different sections, which is what I did, and that seems to be what a lot of YouTube videos are saying to do. So what is basically happening by doing it in sections is you clear out all your old radiator fluid partially instead of wholly. Now, so the first time you drain your fluid, you'll get a few liters, okay? And that's what's in the radiator. And then you top it up with distilled water or just water from your hose, depends on how fussy you want to be. And you go for a good drive, about 15 or 20 minutes. Now, the reason that it needs to be a longish drive is because of the thermostat. So the engine needs to be hot enough for the thermostat to open the valve which allows that coolant in the engine block to be released and be cooled by the radiator and then pump back into the system. So then you go back home, you let the engine cool down, you drain another few liters from it, and you do this again and again. Like, I think I did it 5 times. And eventually you'll find that what you're draining is no longer got any color, green or red or whatever color coolant you're using, but it is just clear like the water that you've been putting into it. So that's how you know that your system has been flushed. Okay, so it's a bit tedious, and all up, it's going to take an entire afternoon. So I guess you just got to be patient, unless, of course, you've got the know-how to remove that thermostat, and you can probably do it much quicker. Now, as for then replacing the coolant, a very similar kind of routine. And so how this worked for me personally, and I'm sure people in the comments will let me know if I'm an idiot, but I drained a few liters of what was pure water, and then I topped up with radiator coolant. It was a 50-50 mix. And then I went for a drive, and then I released a few more liters, and then I topped it up with the radiator coolant, and then I went for a drive, and then I dumped a few liters, and then and then I topped it up, and then I went for another drive and did that a few times. Because unfortunately, for me, there was no real way of knowing how diluted the coolant I was putting in there was because of the leftover water in the engine block. So just to be sure, I emptied it possibly more than I needed to. So now I'm fairly confident that I've got a good mix coolant and water. And just in case you happen to not be an Aussie like I am, when I say coolant, I believe that that's an interchangeable term for antifreeze. So, yeah, I just wanted to help out anybody who might need help on that. I guess the information that I'm giving you now would have been really useful to me before I started. And yeah, good luck with it.